First look at official Paranoid Android Quartz 3 build for the Redmi K20 Pro or the Xiaomi Mi 90 Pro. Hey peeps, what's up? Manchi here, back with another video, and in this video we're going to have our first look at Paranoid Android Quartz 3 ROM, which is based on Android 10 running on the Redmi K20 Pro or the Xiaomi Mi 90 Pro. As you can see, the security patch is from June of 5th, 2020, and they are using Immensity kernel. Now we are going to majorly concentrate on the customizations which Paranoid Android has added on top of Android 10. So this is how the build comes out of the box. You do have Paranoid Android's own launcher which is baked in, and you do have access to your Google feed if you swipe towards the right hand side. And this is how your volume panel looks like. Tap on the arrow and you can change the other volumes as well. So you can configure your alarm volume, and you can also configure your media volume along with your ringtone volume. Tap on the button on the top and you can change between the different modes: ringtone, vibrate, and totally silent. And of course you do have your percentages at these volumes as well, and you also have the option of enabling or disabling live caption. So you have a separate button for live caption which shows up when you expand your volume panel. Next up, we can have a look at the quick setting tiles. So this is how your quick setting tiles look like, and if you tap on the arrow which you see besides some of those quick setting tiles, it is going to open the advanced settings for these options. Tap on more settings and it will take you directly to the setting for that specific quick setting tile. Now they have added a quick setting tile to switch the mobile data between two SIM cards, and other than that you have quick setting tiles for screen recorder. Now unfortunately the current build does not have the option of recording internal audio, but they do plan on adding it down the line. Then you have a feature called screen stabilization, and if you tap on the down arrow you do get more customization for that. Only if I can get it to work. Here it is. You can configure your velocity friction, velocity amplitude, and position friction. Now what is this screen stabilization? Well, this is a feature which is useful if you are, let's say, walking or you are in a vehicle which is moving. So with every move or every speed bump, the UI is going to move a little so that you do not end up missing the touches, or you do not end up missing the place where you want to touch on the screen. So this is a feature which I think is only present in Paranoid Android for now. I'm not sure if any other ROM has implemented this feature. Next up, you also have a caffeine tile. So what the caffeine tile is going to do is it is going to keep your screen awake for the time which you see on your screen right below the caffeine tile. If you keep tapping on it, you can of course increase the duration, and the maximum you can go up to is infinity, which means your screen will never turn off. Now this is a feature or a tile which comes useful when you are, say, reading a book or reading an article on your device. Next up, we can go into settings and look at the other customizations. So we'll go into display, and the first feature we'll check out is styles and wallpapers. So it comes baked in with one default theme. However, you are free to add your own custom theme. You have the choice of 4 different fonts, 4 different icon styles, and you do have a bunch of accent colors which are baked into the build, and you have 4 different icon shapes to choose from. And of course, once you have made your own specific customization, give it a name and click on apply, and it is going to apply the theme. And here it is. You can see that it did apply the theme which I just created. Going back into styles and wallpapers, these are the different lock screen clock options you have. So you have default, bubble, analog, and the type clock. Go into grid and you can change your grid, and go into wallpaper, you can change your wallpaper as well. Next up, in display, you can of course change your colors. So you have 4 different options: natural, boosted, saturated, and adaptive. Use whichever one you feel like using. Next up, we have the option of pulse, something which lights up the side edges of the screen when you get a notification. Now most custom ROMs use the word edge lighting. Paranoid Android uses the word pulse, and you have only two options over here. So the color can either be the notification color or it can be the system accent color. You do not have a RGB picker for your pulse notifications or for edge detection. Then you have a toggle to enable or disable pocket detection, and then you have ambient display. Now in ambient display you have multiple options. Either you can use it as always on display, or you can choose to wake up the screen for new notifications, or wake up the screen when you pick up your device. It can also wake up the screen with a hand wave or when you take your device out of the pocket. However, these will only work when ambient display is enabled and always on display is disabled. Once you enable always on display, the options beneath are not going to work because you won't need them since you have always on display enabled. Then we can go into sound, and here you have customizations of vibration and haptics. So you have the toggle to enable or disable in-call haptics. Then you have touch vibration toggle, whether you want to vibrate for calls or not. And once you enable this toggle, you can choose your ringtone vibration pattern. You have these different options and they work absolutely fine. Of course, it is next to impossible for me to showcase these on screen or on video. You do have the option of live caption, and once you enable it, it should work absolutely fine. You also have a toggle to enable hide profanity, and of course right now live caption only works in the English language, and you also have a toggle to enable or disable the live caption control in your volume panel. Next up we can go into security, but before I forget, in display you do not have the option of DC dimming, and sound does not have any Dirac or the Mi sound enhancer. Going back into security, you do have fingerprint on display and you also have face unlock. Now the fingerprint on display which they are using is from the Xiaomi Mi 9, and I personally feel that Lineage OS implementation is much better and provides more accuracy, especially Lineage OS FOD 2.0 is any day better than Mi 9 FOD in my opinion, and I did have a few missed fingerprints with the current implementation of FOD which they have in Paranoid Android. Face unlock, on the other hand, is pretty fast and pretty reliable. Now, me personally, I would rather use face unlock over the unreliable FOD, but that's just me. Next up, we can go into system, and if you go into gestures, you have jump to camera gesture, wherein you can press the power button twice to open the camera app. Then if we go into system navigation, you can choose between three different kind of navigation styles. So you have the old school three button style, and you can also swap the back and recents button if you enable that toggle. Then you have the two button navigation, and you also have the full screen gestures which were introduced with Android 10. Tap on settings and you can configure the sensitivity, and you can also configure your gesture bar size. Now what is missing here is the option to completely hide this ugly bar at the bottom and this ugly back arrow. I wish that they have that option in Paranoid Android because it does give you a full immersive experience. Then you do have three finger screenshot, and along with three finger screenshot you also have expanded screenshots, and there it is. You can scroll, and it is giving me an error right now. Let's try it one more time. There it is. So as you can see, expanded screenshots work absolutely fine. I'm not sure why it gave me that error. And we can go back into gestures. You do have adaptive playback. Now what is this adaptive playback? Well, once you enable it, and let's say you have some music which is playing, now once you reduce the volume to 0, the music is going to pause, and then whatever timeout you have chosen over here, if within that time frame you increase the volume, the music is going to continue from wherever it was paused at. Next up in gestures, we have a section called screen off gestures. Now for the Redmi K20 Pro, you will only get double tap to wake. This section is specifically for OnePlus devices which do support screen off gestures by drawing patterns, and it works for Paranoid Android ROM on OnePlus devices only. Then you also have playback control. So when the screen is off, you can long press the volume keys to skip your music tracks. And last but not the least, if you go into settings, system, reset options, feature preferences, you can enable or reset the quick setting pull down. So right now if I swipe from the right hand side, it is going to open the quick settings panel in expanded view, and if I swipe down from the left hand side, it's going to open it in a compact view. However, if you want to reset that, you can do it from here, feature preferences, select this option and say reset selected. Now they also have the option of extended restart. I'm not sure why it is disabled for the Redmi K20 Pro. Other than that, when you install the ROM for the first time, these are all the apps which will come baked in. You do have the recorder app from Pixel 4 which is present in this build, and your Google Assistant is still the old one. You do not have Google Assistant 2.0. You do have an application called Abstract which is going to provide you some pretty cool and pretty awesome wallpapers in case you want some fancy wallpapers on your Redmi K20 Pro. Now in terms of gestures and smoothness, everything works absolutely fine. The gestures are smooth, the animations are smooth. My only feedback would be to replace this Snapdragon camera with say either ANX camera or a Gcam port, because you do have a triple camera setup on the Redmi K20 Pro, and I see no reason why you have this old school Snapdragon camera baked into the build. As for the benchmark scores, here are the benchmark scores on your screen right now. There it is, peeps. That was our first look at Paranoid Android Quartz 3 ROM running on the Redmi K20 Pro or the Xiaomi Mi 90 Pro. And that will do it for this video. Hope my video helped you. Likes, shares and subscribes are appreciated. Feedback and comment more than welcome. See you when I see you.